Ah, the rain finally stopped. Welcome back, my friends. It's been a little while, and I'm behind on a lot of chores and a lot of other activities. Usually by now, we're well into firewood season, and we haven't even started. The target range, it's a little behind schedule, but we'll get back at it. And I think today, I'm feeling a little lazy. Yep, I think today we're gonna let the tractor do the work. I'm gonna head over to Guy's place. While I was away, they piled up a whole bunch of logs, and he needs them separated out today. And that's right up my alley, because I really don't feel like doing any manual labor. So we're gonna fire up the tractor, head over to Guy's. We're gonna use the Grapple today. I hope you'll stick around. Cheers. We're really fortunate to have such wonderful neighbors. I've been up here for probably about 6 weeks now. But Guy and Husky Bob and a few others have been dropping into the property, making sure everything's okay. I mean, I have all the security cameras, but it's not quite the same as having your buddy drop by and check on the shed and the tractor and different things that you own, and go inside and make sure that everything's fine and there's no trouble. I'm hoping that the sky stays clear for this week so I can kind of catch up on everything, get the grass cut, get the property back in shape. I've got a few other projects on the go you guys haven't even seen yet, and I need to get at those as well because we're into August now. One nice thing about the absence is it looks like all the deer flies and the black flies have now diminished. They're pretty much not to be found. Just a few mosquitoes here and there at night, but otherwise you can stand outside without, covering yourself in off or bug spray. And that certainly is a welcome change. The days are already noticeably shorter. We still have a long day, it's not like winter, but there's a big difference between when the sun's coming up now and when it goes down compared to 6 weeks ago. So that's going to shorten my time frame for getting work done, but also might give me a little bit of time just to sit and relax. It's not a make work project. You're probably scratching your head wondering what's going on. Got a pile of mixed logs in the end. Guy's got the log trailer to one side. I'm gonna put firewood here. I'm gonna put millwood on the trailer and take it away. And the axis is gonna be set up here so that we can buck these logs, just roll it onto the table, split, and right into the woodshed and stack them. Many of you have been asking me what I think of this Homestead Implements Grapple. I've had it for 10 months now, and as you folks remember, I used to have the same style of grapple. It was a root rake grapple from HLA Attachments. Let me tell you a few things about it. A big difference between the two is that my HLA Attachments grapple is made out of commercial steel. It's about 450 pounds. This grapple made by Homestead is made with Hardox 450, it's called. It's a much more lightweight but stronger steel, I understand. And it'll weigh about 305 pounds. So you've got a bit of a benefit there from the point of weight on the front end and weight which will affect how much you can lift inside it. You'll notice that on all of these pipes, which I understand are what are called Schedule 80 pipes, there's gussets on either side of every tooth on the top and the bottom, as well as reinforcements and gussets in the corners here to help maintain its rigidity, and it works really well. As you've noticed, I've yet to bend a tooth. In all fairness, I've only dug a few rocks or boulders out of the ground so far with this, whereas with the HLA that I had for about 4.5 years, I dug a lot of rocks out. So far so good. It's held up well. Very, very thick tines or teeth, and nothing's bent yet. So they're both what they call root rake style grapples. I actually have never tried a brush grapple or any other style or design of grapple. I like the root rake. This one has a few different features than the old HLA Attachments did. The opening, which I think is an important consideration when you're buying a grapple, this jaw will open 40 inches. And for me, the bigger the jaw opening, the better, especially when you're grappling brush or you're trying to grab multiple logs. It's about 2.5 inches more depth or more opening than the HLA had. You guys have probably noticed as well, the teeth on this grapple are slightly different. They've got serrated edges, as you can see, whereas the HLA was smooth teeth all the way through and points at the end. And you'll notice the points here, or the ends of the teeth, are rounded. If you remember with the HLA, I used to be able to go into a log pile and I could literally pinch a log out of the middle and pull it out because all of the teeth had points. It also had a smooth tooth on it. So when you were grappling, 2 or 3 logs that you were trying to pull out of a pile, when you're closing your jaw, your logs are going to naturally want to try to collapse up inside the jaw. It's a little more difficult with the Homestead implements because of these serrated teeth, because they grip the log. So not as easy to grab multiple logs unless you've got them oriented in such a manner that you're able to push in and pull them in kind of one at a time up onto each other. But you can do either way. It's just much easier to pinch a single log out and much easier with the HLA to group a bunch of logs up because they would just slide up underneath the teeth. I do like the serrated edges because they do in fact grab the log. So when you are pulling them, whether it's out of the forest or out of a log pile, these teeth will grip the log and it gives you a much better control or grasp on the log than the HLA did. 2 cylinders versus 1 on the HLA, not really sure if there's an advantage or disadvantage. They both work really well. I was kind of concerned that when I was grappling logs or anything that was not, really symmetrical, that the upper jaw would twist or bend. And under really extreme pressure, it will flex. But they told me this Hardox 450 has a memory, and they're right. Anytime I've seen it flex a little bit, it immediately goes back to its original shape after I let go. It might seem like a small consideration, but it is actually pretty big. The side of this grapple has, I guess, what I would call feet. This is kind of like a foot here. So you can actually take the grapple on and off and it'll stand on its own. The HLA, not so much because it was rounded and it had no stand. And you may recall several years ago, my neighbor Guy and I had to build a cradle to put it in because probably 8 out of 10 times that I would try to push into it to connect my SSQA, I would push that 450-pound grapple over on the front and then I'd have to wrestle it back up and try to put pieces of wood under it to stop it from falling forward on me. Not sure if you folks can see this, but right here on the inside, as well as on the top of the grapple, there's what they call a mechanical stop, which I think is an excellent design feature, which my HLA doesn't have. And what that does is it stops you from either extending or collapsing your cylinder beyond where it's supposed to go. So if you're pulling on a rock, say, or you're pulling on something in the ground, or your grapple hits something, you're not going to get that pressure getting pushed back into your cylinder. So at the end of the day, I am really happy with this Homestead Implements grapple. I think it performs great. It's very, very well built down in New York in the United States. My HLA, which is built up here in Ontario, I still love. I mean, that Grapple was a tank and we did a lot of work with it. But I'm very pleased with it. Took me a little while to kind of learn the different geometry, so to speak, of how the jaw opens and closes and the design shape of this jaw relative to what was more of an oval of the HLA. But hey, they're both doing the job and I'm very grateful to have it. Big thanks to the folks down at Homestead Implements.
It's nice to laugh.
Hey, thanks so much for sticking around today. Really appreciate it. Great folks, have a wonderful weekend with your families. Please be kind to one another. And we'll see you again right here on board Potter. You've been watching GP Outdoors. Cheers.